Hi guys and girls, so this video I want to try to show you what Bitcoin is and what the Bitclub network is all about. Now it could take me hours to explain this in detail, but what I want to try to do is give you the basics in an easy to understand format in just a few minutes. So Bitcoin was the first decentralized cryptocurrency created, and it allows us to send money or value online from person to person without any third parties involved, such as banks, PayPal or Western Union, and it's completely safe. There's no chargebacks, so there are no checks or any qualifications you need to meet to be able to use Bitcoin, so anybody in the world can use this. The fees are very, very low and it can be used anywhere in the world. So who uses and accepts Bitcoin? Well, actually there are millions of people that are using Bitcoin, and today you can use Bitcoin to buy almost anything you can think of. You name it, you can actually buy it with Bitcoin. Plane tickets, electronics, cars, coffee, and anything else you can think of. So as well as businesses, another thing that Bitcoin is going to have a huge impact on is general remittances. For example, sending money between people from family and friends, from state to state or from country to country around the world. And currently between 600 billion and $1 trillion get moved around the world every year. But the way we're used to doing it is through a bank or other intermediaries like PayPal or Western Union. And companies like Western Union and MoneyGram, for example, charge between 5% and as much as 30%, and an average of 10% worldwide. So if you take a look at those fees, we're actually paying fees of $60 billion and up to $100 billion per year. So with Bitcoin, everybody has access, no approval needed, and a typical transaction with Bitcoin is just going to cost a few cents. So because Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency, that means it's not owned by any one person, any government or company. So in order to verify transactions and secure the network, this is done by thousands of network users in return for a small payment of Bitcoin, and this is called mining. Now, as we've already said, there are very low fees with Bitcoin. You might be asking the question, if there's basically no fees, why would these people spend huge amounts of money on computer equipment and electricity if there's no money to be made? So I'll explain how that works, and this is actually how we can all cash in on this. Every 10 minutes a new block of Bitcoin is created and given to miners. Now in the beginning it was 50 Bitcoins being created and given every 10 minutes. So after the first 210,000 blocks, which took about 4 years, this dropped to 25 Bitcoins per block. And again after the next 210,000 blocks it dropped to 12.5 Bitcoins every block. And this will continue to halve for the next 25 years until the year 2140, at which point there will be 21 million Bitcoins in circulation, and at that point no more new Bitcoins will be produced, which means Bitcoin will always be rare. So Bitcoin started on January the 3rd, 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. And in the beginning it wasn't about money, it was more about a way of making a transaction without needing the middlemen like PayPal or banks or Western Union, and so avoiding the high fees. So at that time there were only just a few people involved in mining, and they were collecting all of the Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Then on May 22nd, 2010, the first Bitcoin transaction happened when 10,000 Bitcoins were offered for a pizza. So when that happened, Bitcoin actually had a real value and people started to want to trade Bitcoin, but the people who had Bitcoin didn't want to sell it for such a low price. So this in turn started to create demand for Bitcoin and push the price upwards, but it took over a year before Bitcoin actually went to a value of 10 cents. And over the past years, Bitcoin has been the greatest investment the world has ever seen, but some people still don't understand the concept or think those days are over, but they're wrong. So currently there are over 10 million people that have a Bitcoin wallet, but we're talking about a technology that has the potential to be bigger than the internet, with billions and billions of people using it. 25 years ago it was actually very complicated, but now there are thousands of companies like Google and YouTube, Facebook, Gmail, making the internet easy to use, and billions have been invested in these companies. And Bitcoin is the same. 5 or 6 years ago it was very complicated to use Bitcoin. But now there are over 1,000 companies from all around the world which make it easy to use. And some of the smartest and richest people in the world are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into Bitcoin companies. And this is why we're still in the beginning of this Bitcoin revolution. People like Bill Gates and Sir Richard Branson are investing millions in startup companies and Bitcoin companies which are going to make it easier for every ordinary day people to be able to use Bitcoin. And it's not just the successful entrepreneurs and business moguls who are investing in Bitcoin. All the major corporate companies, financial institutions and large internet companies are also investing in Bitcoin. And also MIT University is very involved with Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So to put this into perspective for you, imagine you had a demand for gold, and that month that much gold was mined, and the following month the demand stayed the same but less gold was mined. Then the price of that gold is going to skyrocket, and that's what's happening with Bitcoin. And it's going to continue to happen with Bitcoin, and that's just one factor pushing up the price of Bitcoin. So far there have been over 14 million Bitcoin created with a value of over $3.5 billion, and all of that has gone to miners and people involved with mining Bitcoin, and it's not going to stop. And here is why people are getting involved with Bitclub. And most of the people who are investing heavily in Bitcoin believe that the price of Bitcoin is going to reach $10,000 or more within the next few years. So if you were just to buy some Bitcoin right now and sit on it for the next 3 years, I think most people agree that that would be an awesome investment. But instead of just buying Bitcoin and holding it, if you were to join the Bitclub network right now, in about 3 years from now, you'd probably have 2 to 8 times more Bitcoin. So to put that into perspective, if you were to buy just 2 Bitcoin at today's prices and the price went to $10,000 per Bitcoin, you would have just turned $3,600 into $155,000. But if you were to put that same amount of Bitcoin into Bitclub mining, then 3 years from now you would have possibly 25 to 100 Bitcoin, and if the price went to $10,000 you would now be sitting on $250,000 to $1 million. Now if you think that sounds a little far-fetched, then remember the pizza. Now that was an investment of $25 which turned into $2.4 million. So don't be left out of this. This is happening for 100% of Bitclub members, and other revenue streams that Bitclub network members can also earn from include Bitcoin ATMs, a payment platform for businesses to accept Bitcoin, and Bitclub has launched its own coin which it only gives away to members, and it creates demand for that coin, thereby pushing up the value. And these are just some of the revenue streams that Bitclub members can profit from. And I'm trying to keep this video short and concise, so I won't go into any more detail here. So if you want to know more information on the Bitclub, then click the link which will be below this video, or get back to the person who gave you the URL to this video, and you can start earning your own profits as a shareholder or pool member with Bitclub Network.